fast on the most of probably hard of AI, I'm sure. So, and since then it has actually been developing so much. So that means that's the introduction about AI. So we can get into the real world application. Before we get into the real world applications, there's things that you need, these key concepts that you need to understand about how AI works. So there's machine learning. So basically, AI is like teaching computers how to think and solve problems like human beings. That is the core essence of AI. And making these computers solve problems and think like human beings, it needs data, right? It needs to be trained on data, vast amounts of data. That's why like it can solve problems like human beings. And then there's this theory that people are saying right now, AI is not good for the community because there's this thing on the data that it is trained on. Where does this data come from? It comes from you. Like the pictures you post online, whatever you're writing online, whatever you're posting. You see, that's the data that AI is trained on, dependent on the specific field that you are. I'm sure many of you are not, many of you here are in different fields. Some of you are in tech, some of you are in agriculture, some of you are in maybe engineering. So AI uses your data. It uses your data to train so that it can be able to solve problems. But it can do it more faster than you. And that's where AI shines. So we can move on to real world examples, right? So there's, as I said, there's so many fields that AI can be integrated into. The first one, we can use an example of healthcare. Healthcare, like for example, like when you go to a doctor, the doctor, the first thing he asks you is to diagnose you. He asks you what is your problem or how are you feeling. So like from the symptoms that you have, you can be able to deduce the problem that the disease that affects you. So with AI, it can do that way faster. But also, there's a risk of like the data that it was used to train on AI. Maybe let's say like the symptoms like coughing. So how many diseases? Like there's so many diseases that one of the symptoms is like coughing. So it is important to know that AI is not an all solution. So the best thing to do is the best practices, as we'll be able to touch on later on during the presentation, is the ethical standards that AI needs to be taught. Because there's this data that AI is fed, it's supposed to be accurate data. Yeah. So there's healthcare, and then there's transportation. Transportation, you've heard about self-driving cars. That's the new era of cars right now. And then finance. Finance, that's actually my field. So finance is actually very interesting. The thing about investing and automation, there's so many things you can do with AI. Like building your own agents that can be able to automate maybe let's say you're trading or you're doing investments. sell stocks using the market data. And probably this is the truth. There's so much data that's going on around the internet, everywhere. So much that the human brain cannot process it. But using AI, you can be able to make accurate predictions about the stock markets, about seasonings, about so many things, and that's where AI can be able to help you automate finance. And then entertainment, AI can be able to integrate in entertainment because there's so many AI tools. Like I said, AI is trained on data. So this data can be specific to your field. So let's say with music, you can be able to train your AI using the beats that you use to make. It can be able to be trained on that data, and then it can be able to reproduce more music or even better music than producers. But here begs the question, like, is that ethical? Do you think it's ethical? Like using computers to make music. Yeah, that's something we need to discuss, because like real artists saying AI is really bad for the industry. Because one thing that AI has not been able to do up to now is to feel. AI cannot feel. It doesn't have feelings. So it can be able to like reply to your comments. It can do so many things. So many things. It can build websites. It can make music. But if there's no feeling involved in that music, is that really good music? So those are the questions that they need to be tackled. And customer service. Most of you are students here, and you've used ChatGPT in helping doing assignments. So what do your lecturers feel about that? Is that ethical, using ChatGPT to do your assignments? Yeah? Yes, it's ethical. So isn't that copy pasting? It's not.
Provided you check your plagiarism.